Series: Violence Against Women. Topic: Forced Displacement. Living with the horror, the fear, and the injustice. In Colombia, violence against women is a never-ending story. In addition to the mistreatment and discrimination to which they are subjected daily, many women must face torture, sexual violence, kidnapping, forced recruitment, disappearance of their loved ones, and, as if that weren't enough, exile and expulsion from what by rights belongs to them, their homes.
Because it's not easy to arrive in the city, an unfamiliar city, a city that for us is like a cement monster. Because it's not the same as being in the countryside. Because in the countryside, we plant crops and eat from our own harvest.
Women and children are the principal victims of an insane, cruel, and bloody war. Direct threats to abandon their places of residence, the murder of some member of their family, the presence of the paramilitary, the guerrilla, or the militia, having one or more children on the police force or in the army, the massacres, or the simple fact of living in a war zone. These are sufficient motives for escaping far away and abandoning everything: belongings, efforts, hopes, dreams. For every 100 displaced persons in Colombia, there are 52 women, and many of them are head of their household.
I come from a town in southeastern Antioquia, and I had to come here after they killed my husband. They took him away, and he didn't show up, either alive or dead. I was left alone with 5 children, and I had to leave the farm because we didn't have anything of our own. We grabbed our clothes and left. We were in Quindío 2 years, and that's where our second son was born.
The only way out for displaced women and their families is to flee. Without a penny in their pocket, and with no one to help them out, they continue to bear their crosses. An even greater burden, considering that for many of the women, displacement means taking over as head of household, whether because they have to escape with their children after the violent deaths of their husbands, or because their husbands abandoned them after arriving in the city. They are the ones, then, who shoulder the burden of providing for the home. And what about the rights of the displaced women?
When I got the papers, I had already been here for a year, and they sent me to the International Red Cross. After I got there, they told me that I did not have rights to any humanitarian aid because of my time here, because one has 3 working months after arriving to receive aid. So, since I had already been here a year, they didn't give me any humanitarian aid.
Article 10 of the Law 387 of 1997 speaks about providing special attention to women and children, preferentially to widows, women who are head of their families, and orphans. According to this law, the displaced population, which of course includes women and children, should have direct access to government programs, in particular to the programs that have to do with health, education, and urban and rural housing. But once more, the laws in Colombia are only empty words. In the case of displaced women, the health services that the state provides, in addition to being inefficient, are scarce. And the state fails to meet the children's right to free education. What is more, many educational centers deny registration to displaced children. The housing programs are glaringly absent. Meanwhile, the Colombian state receives military aid in the amount of $1.3 billion from the United States. Aid that, instead of protecting the displaced population, nourishes and encourages an insane war whose consequences are unrepairable for the victims of the conflict. And where are the guilty ones? The trafficking of women and girls, forced displacement, forced disappearances, torture, cruel treatment, and impunity, that is to say, the absence of punishment for those responsible for the savagery, form part of the picture of violence that women have to suffer in the Colombian War. And the state is primarily responsible for all the human rights violations in that it does not adopt measures that guarantee life, respect, and dignity for displaced women. But there are more guilty parties, the so-called armed actors. That is to say, the paramilitary, guerrilla, and popular militia groups are not far behind. With each step, they sow only terror, death, and desperation. Threats, assaults, massacres, rape. They are only part of the violence practiced against women. One morning they came to town. We thought they were from the military. They did things in front of the people. They entered the houses by force to be waited upon, to be served food and to have their clothes washed. They touched us women, yelled vulgarities at us, and raped many. And while they were doing all of this, they were laughing loudly. Women, united by hope.
We came to Medellin because the problem was, well, the gangs that he was involved in, that for any little thing they make you leave. And when he had had a few drinks, I do not know what it was that he did. But at any rate, this has caused so much suffering.
Women have always demonstrated bravery, strength, and leadership in facing the hardest situations. With their tenacity and sacrifice, they rebuild their homes and promote the founding of schools, health centers, and the recovery of lands and cultivations. In Colombia, they are the mothers, wives, and daughters of the soldiers and policemen who have been kidnapped, those who work for the release of their loved ones, those who get proof that they are alive, those who with determination and boldness penetrate the deepest parts of the jungle to be able to see their sons. These extraordinary women have united their forces and have organized themselves to demand full respect of their rights, to denounce abuses and violations, and to continue their struggles for peaceful resistance to the conflict. To turn a great dream into reality, you must first have a great dream. Displaced woman, do not become weakened by your situation. Do not let discouragement and disappointment overcome you. Always remember that the greatest works began with a simple dream. Trace out this dream. Imagine a free and equal world where human beings have mutual respect for each other, where conflicts are resolved not with guns, but rather with dialogue, where cruelty and savagery are eradicated, where you and your family can live at last in peace.
I work a lot for the development of women and all those kinds of things. So it's like I value myself more. I love myself more. If he does not value me, if he does not love me, I know that I am of great worth. That's what helps.
This world is possible if we all unite and begin to work to make this dream a reality. You do more than simply give life. You have countless abilities. You are strong, intelligent, and very brave. Do not be afraid to take a risk. You are not alone. Many women in the world share your same dream. When you feel that you have lost all strength, think about the great, marvelous, and extraordinary woman that lives in you. You are able to do great things. You have already demonstrated that. Your daily fight to survive is only one example of this. Now, if the world that surrounds you seems too cruel and overwhelming, remember that Gandhi once said, "You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty." Displaced woman, do not lose faith in yourself. Dream, set goals, and work to meet those goals. You will see that one day your dream will become a reality.